Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Welcome, Ms. Chao, and thank you for your past service. I look forward to working with you, and I might just say, although Senator McConnell has left, he and I have something in common, which is we both married above ourselves. And my wife, Cynthia, is a friend and admirer of yours, and welcome to our committee. I look forward to
Thank you.
Working with you on issues that concern investment in infrastructure. You and I have talked a little bit about the need to modernize and upgrade our deteriorating rails, roads, and bridges. We see this issue particularly in Connecticut on our roads and bridges, but also the safety and reliability and speed of our rail system, which needs to be significantly improved. And that requires real investment, public resources, not just tax credits. And you and I have talked about the need for a public-private partnership. I hope that we can work together to make that happen and build a bipartisan consensus in favor of it, as I think is very possible. I also think that safety in our other kinds of transportation is very important. As you well know, a lot of the recommendations made by the agencies that will be under your jurisdiction very simply have not been implemented. According to the latest numbers from the National Transportation Safety Board, there are hundreds of open safety recommendations, 305 at the Federal Aviation Administration, 61 at the Federal Railway Administration, 91 at NHTSA. These recommendations are essentially potentially life-saving for people who are affected by them. And the agencies have failed to fulfill recommendations. And so my first question to you is, what are your plans to close those recommendations, make sure that they are implemented?
As mentioned, safety is a top priority of the department. If confirmed, one of my first tasks will be to get briefed on all of these outstanding issues, and I look forward to working with you and your committee and all the committee on all of this.
I know there's a tendency sometimes to be dismissive about these kinds of recommendations. I hope that you will make them a priority.
If confirmed, I will look at them very seriously.
And make sure that they are implemented, because I know you're a doer, and these recommendations need doing. Let me turn to one of the areas where technology is tremendously important. You mentioned technology in your opening statement. Positive train control, not a new technology, been around for many years. The deadline for implementing it was 2015, which then was extended to 2018 over opposition from a number of us, including myself. And again, you and I have talked a little bit about it. Would you plan to make sure that that deadline is fulfilled and that, in fact, positive train control, which is a life-saving technology, is implemented by 2018?
If confirmed, I hope to get briefed on this. And if there's a deadline, as you mentioned, of that particular date, I would look at it very seriously. And again, I want to get an up-to-date briefing on what's going on that. And I did promise you that I would do that.
You have promised. And I hope the promise, yes, again, is not just to be brief, but also to take action, because we've seen in the Northeast the consequences of the failure to implement it in a number of the rail catastrophes that have happened at Spuyten and Duyvil in Pennsylvania and others where these disasters could have been stopped with positive train control. One last question relating to the plan recently issued by the Federal Railway Administration, which would, in fact, reroute some of the rail going through Connecticut in bypasses through areas like Old Lyme, where they would have disastrous effects on the environment, culture and historic landmarks, quality of life. I would ask your commitment that you will review this plan and change it in response to the overwhelming outcry from people in Connecticut that the recently implemented FRA plan simply is unworkable, and it is also unaffordable.
You and I have spoken about this before during our courtesy visit, and I will certainly review this very carefully, well, if confirmed.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Senator.